man may be unwittingly changing the world's climate through the waste products of his civilization.
The burning of coal, oil, and wood is releasing carbon dioxide into the atmosphere.
The greenhouse effect has been detected, and it is changing our climate now.
Guess where the temperature goes? It goes up.
Climate change is already in our backyard.
Official 2012 was the hottest year in the United States.
It's 2014. 2015. Warmest year around the warmest year on record.
It is his activities which drove mankind out of the Garden of Eden.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary General, Your Excellency.
I feel incredibly honored that they chose me to be the United Nations Messenger of Peace on climate change.
I stand before you not as an expert.
I want to do everything I can to learn more about this issue, see for myself exactly what's going on and what can be done. But it all kind of seems beyond our control.
As an actor, I pretend for a living. I play fictitious characters, often solving fictitious problems. I believe that mankind has looked at climate change in that same way.
We keep getting inundated with catastrophic news about the environment every single day, and the problem seems to be getting worse and worse and worse. Try to have a conversation with anyone about climate change, people just tune out.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary General, for the honor to address this body, and thanks to the distinguished climate leaders assembled here today who are ready to take action. As a UN messenger of peace, I have traveled all over the world for the last 2 years. I have seen cities like Beijing choked by industrial pollution, ancient boreal forests in Canada that have been clear-cut, and rainforests in Indonesia that have been incinerated. In India, I met farmers whose crops have been literally washed away. In America, I've witnessed sea level rise flooding the streets of Miami. In Greenland and in the Arctic, I was astonished to see that ancient glaciers are rapidly disappearing, well ahead of scientific predictions. All that I have seen and learned on my journey has absolutely terrified me. Now think about the shame that each of us will carry when our children and grandchildren look back and realize that we had the means of stopping this devastation, but simply lacked the political will to do so. Yes, we have achieved the Paris Agreement. More countries have come together here to sign this agreement today than for any other cause in the history of humankind, and that is reason for hope. But unfortunately, the evidence shows us that it will not be enough. A massive change is required right now, one that leads to a new collective consciousness, a new collective evolution of the human race, inspired and enabled by a sense of urgency from all of you. We can congratulate each other today, but it will mean absolutely nothing if you return to your countries and fail to push beyond the promises of this historic agreement. After 21 years of debates and conferences, it is time to declare no more talk, no more excuses, no more 10-year studies, no more allowing the fossil fuel companies to manipulate and dictate the science and policies that affect our future. The world is now watching. You will either be lauded by future generations or vilified by them. You are the last best hope of Earth. We ask you to protect it, or we and all living things we cherish are history.
I am fighting every day for the great people of this country. Therefore, in order to fulfill my solemn duty to protect America and its citizens, the United States will withdraw from the Paris Climate Accord Thank you.
All these different animals, from the dodo to the passenger pigeon, which was the most plentiful bird on Earth, to the Tasmanian tiger, also known as the thylacine, to the great auk, the quagga, the moa, I remember the anger that I felt reading all these stories about how explorers and settlers would just wipe out an entire species and in the process decimate the ecosystem forever. The difference now is we're knowingly doing this. It's just on a much larger scale.
So we're getting out. As president, I can put no other consideration before the well-being of American citizens. The Paris Climate Accord is simply the latest example of Washington entering into an agreement that disadvantages the United States to the exclusive benefit of other countries, leaving American workers, who I love, and taxpayers to absorb the cost in terms of lost jobs, lower wages, shuttered factories, and vastly diminished economic production.